Justin Kirk Frost prevailed in court and obliterated Jasmine as if she had never been. Let's face it, did anyone anticipate the shock that has swept the internet? We all assumed Kirk would lose, but instead he produced the most impressive courtroom comeback since Amber Heard versus Johnny Depp. What does it mean for Jasmine, though? What a horrible, awful thing it is. We're talking about a PR catastrophe on a life-altering, bank account-destroying scale. Let's go straight to the point. Jasmine was just dealt the ultimate Uno reverse card by Kirk Frost, and believe me, it's more repulsive than we could have ever imagined. It's a full-fledged courtroom, not just a legal victory. Jasmine was out here playing checkers, and Kirk was just playing chess. Did he use it as a means of retaliation after all these years? What Jasmine did to merit this degree of karma is more crucial. Everything in Jasmine's world was turned upside down, warped, and thrown in the trash. How did we arrive here? How in the world was Kirk able to take advantage of the system and ignore Jasmine? Let's get straight to the subject then. If you've been paying attention, you're well aware that Jasmine's and Kirk's past is messier than a quarrel at a reality TV reunion. Jasmine came out with the mother of all babies years ago. Love and Hip Hop Atlanta ratings soared, the internet was on fire, drama broke out, and Kirk Frost's reputation was ruined by rumors that his ostensibly faithful wife, Rashida, was out here playing house with her and even had a full child. But Jasmine, well, was having a great time, with the public opinion court, fans, and blogs all supporting her. Kirk appeared to be done for a time, but then the story takes a sharp turn in the present. What took place in court? Oh, sweetheart, get your munchies. Kirk showed up with a dream legal team right out of a thriller on Netflix. We are discussing high power to lawyers, receipts on receipts, and a ruthless tactic that would have prevented Jasmine from succeeding. Nobody could have foreseen how drastically this individual would alter the course of events. Kirk was out playing chess while Jasmine was busy soaking up the attention. Kirk looked over the evidence and basically told Jasmine, "Pack it up." He started by raising questions about her reliability by highlighting her purported habit of targeting affluent individuals, her inconsistent past, and even some questionable financial decisions that raised concerns in the court. Then, it was discovered from the financial records that Kirk had been giving Jasmine money for years. We're talking about pricey apartments, shopping freezes, and, wait for it, alleged hush money, in addition to child support and other expenses that had nothing to do with their son. Yes, Kirk gave the impression that Jasmine was profiting from him instead of being a struggling single mother. The courtroom game was over when those bank statements came in, and let's not forget about Jasmine's obviously unprepared response. The internet covered her face, total disbelief, panic, and the knowledge that she had been duped. Jasmine was being ridiculed, pulled, and called out by the same individuals who had once stood by her for trying to play Kirk, but ultimately playing herself. Even some of her erstwhile fans were switching sides, suggesting that Kirk might not be the villain after all. Since everyone was keeping a close eye on Rashida's reaction, let's talk about the villain in record time. She was humiliated on national television for the entire ordeal and was the one who stood behind Kirk through crisis after controversy. What was she contemplating? Sources claimed that Rashida had the last laugh and that she never questioned Kirk's victory. In fact, there are rumors that she may have even helped him behind the scenes. You see, Jasmine would never have had a chance if Rashida had been involved in this takedown in court. The worst thing is that the judge's ruling was a financial death sentence rather than merely a slap on the wrist. Jasmine went into the courthouse hoping for a win, maybe even a paycheck, but instead she exited with Kirk in debt. After considering all the evidence, the judge determined that Jasmine had exploited. Remember that Jasmine had a full career planned out on her story as the victim, TV deals and social media endorsements, and she was banking on this whole thing to make her relevant. She went from controlling the shots to actually having to cough up money to the exact man she was trying to expose because of Kirk's financial assistance and his decision that she had to repay a sizable sum. Woman, but now that story has died. Opportunities are vanishing, companies are stealing, and let's be honest, Her reputation is in shambles. The internet had other plans if she believed she could simply move on from this without any further ado. On Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, there were memes, reaction videos, and people watching old videos again and pointing out the problems with her tale from the beginning. Fumbling, the Jasmine trended for hours and even. It becomes extremely messy at this point. Jasmine, according to people close to her, is not taking this lightly and is upset, ashamed, and preparing her next course of action. According to rumors, she is getting ready to reveal Kirk and Rashida in a whole different way. Stars were joining in, making jokes, and spouting criticism. This is the worst public I've seen since that one influencer tried to cancel themselves for clout, one industry source even remarked. But one thing is for sure, this fight is far from over. Not to mention the other significant figures involved in this mess. Jasmine had some strong supporters who detested Kirk and wanted her to defeat him. What happens to them now that she's lost them? Do they still have a role? Level-dropping purported hidden secrets that have the potential to destroy them both. It remains to be seen if she actually has dirt or if she is merely desperate to remain relevant. Then there is Kirk, the man who managed to escape this disaster unscathed, both legally and in the public's eyes. The same people who are criticizing him for cheating are now hailing him as a genius and applauding him for outsmarting the system, and his reputation has completely shifted. Do they write for her, or do they covertly retreat to avoid embarrassment? Nobody wants to be connected to this degree of humiliation, let's face it. But before we start awarding trophies, let's keep in mind that, even if Kirk won the fight, did he truly win the war? Jasmine may be down, but she's not out, and this victory lap could end quickly if she truly has some explosive secrets. This is even being referred to as a redemption arc by some. Just a few years ago, Kirk Frost was being clowned, but today he's being praised as a genius. Is this any sort of story twist? As you are undoubtedly aware, the upcoming weeks will be highly important, and we will be closely monitoring any updates. What are your thoughts? Is Jasmine going to return, or did Kirk play flawlessly? Above all, maintain your concentration because this tea is everything but cool. We're just getting started. The courtroom was now so silent that you could hear a pin drop, and Jasmine's eyes were darting around the room as she probably realized she had stepped straight. The biggest guns were drawn by Kirk Frost's legal team just when we thought the drama could become any more dramatic. As it turns out, Jasmine had been discussing Kirk excessively on social media, in interviews, and in her purportedly exclusive tea. Even a NASA engineer would have been pleased by Kirk Frost's legal team's faultless strategy, receipts, and supporting documentation. The court possessed proof that Jasmine had been deliberately misleading others, falsifying information, and downright making things up to damage Kirk's reputation. Let's be honest, wasn't this her whole plan from the start? Since, let's face it, pulling Kirk through the muck was turning into her own little company, she wanted the attention, the pity, the influence, and of course, the money. However, now that business just became more than just pointing up flaws in Jasmine's story. Shut down Kirk's attorneys destroyed it exhibit after exhibit like a cheap imitation fancy handbag. To the villain, they showed the judge how Jasmine had changed screenshots, changed words, and even warped time frames. Do you recall her claiming that Kirk was avoiding paying child support? Obviously, that was a giant falsehood. According to court documents, Kirk had indeed been making consistent payments. But receipts also revealed that he went above and beyond to cover extra expenses that Jasmine never mentioned. Wait though, because just when we thought the case could get much worse, Kirk's team revealed something that shocked everyone. Jasmine had been selling articles to media sites on the side and making money off of the whole mess. And you know what? She had to keep the money from some of those transactions. Then everything in Jasmine's world started to crumble. Not only was she losing her image and credibility in court, but everything she had worked so hard to build on this drama was falling apart in front of her. And you know that the internet wasn't going to help. She had a motive to put Kirk through the mud, even if it meant lying, because the dispute was still going strong. Emails, signed contracts, payment records, receipts, and more are all visible. Don't talk about this. Social media went into overdrive as soon as it was made public that Jasmine had been exposed. On Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and other platforms, there were memes, reactions, and people making fun of Jasmine. Most people were impatient, but several fans kept writing for her, saying that she got caught up but was just trying to live. You're telling me that this woman has been protected by us for years and that she has been. You guys love it every time another reality star adds Jasmine, who believes she would be the next victim turned hero. But the truth always prevails, sis. I don't think half of the exposes you guys publish are individuals lying for attention. Even though Kirk wasn't completely innocent, Jasmine definitely played us all like fools. Then the celebs arrived, and when even more influencers and reality stars began to comment, you knew it was genuine. Not to mention that footage of Jasmine looking nervous in court was being shared online, with some drawing comparisons to reality TV. Villains and even incorporating some old-school Maury show you are not the father spirit. Let's now talk about the real consequences, which went beyond Jasmine being publicly humiliated to include a serious financial setback. Initially, Kirk's favorable court ruling meant that he was no longer on the no extra payments, no bonuses, no hook for any money beyond the original child support arrangement, nothing more. Furthermore, there was a very real chance that Kirk's legal team would bring a defamation action due to all the lies that were exposed, which might cost Jasmine millions of dollars in damages. Not to mention the companies and endorsements. Jasmine had been building her Pearl Influencer Empire sponsorships brand before this incident. Agreements, collaborations, you name it, but brands were withdrawing one by one after being made public. A source close to an agency claims that no company wants to be linked to a liar since she is now a problem and the sponsorship checks abruptly stopped pouring in. Even stranger is the fact that this whole situation started because Jasmine thought she could manipulate public opinion and outsmart the system. Because, let's face it, people love a good scandal but hate being missiled, and once the internet turns against you, it's over. She played herself while pretending to be the victim and forcing Kirk to submit. Jasmine was obviously aware that she was losing everything by the conclusion of the trial, not just the case, as she walked out of the courthouse with her head down and avoided the photographers. Ends because new information on possible legal ramifications started to emerge right when we thought Jasmine had hit her lowest point. Indeed, there were suspicions that Jasmine might have actually crossed the line into fraud with her financial dealings and social media activities. A probe into whether she had committed perjury by lying under oath was even discussed, according to one source, and if that turns out to be the case, it might not be a simple case. Let's just say that Jasmine might be facing real jail time, but we're not saying it's a done deal. While Jasmine's world was collapsing, Kirk's reputation had just taken a big leap forward, so he exited the courtroom looking like a champion. Everyone is now curious about what will happen next. Will Jasmine attempt to regain her fame, or will she be forgotten forever? But there's no denying that this story is far from over. Keep checking back because we'll be giving you all the updates as soon as the next startling discovery is made. The consequences of the trial started to intensify just when we believed Jasmine couldn't get any worse. The media, the internet, and even her previous fans were turning against her, so if she thought that losing in court was the worst thing that could happen, she was entirely mistaken. Social media users may stand by you while they think you're the victim, but they will immediately pull you through the mud if they find out you've been lying. Jasmine's fan base started to dwindle overnight, and those who had previously backed her were now clamoring for answers in her comments, with some denouncing her as a scammer and others openly mocking her. Were merely let down because they believed her to be authentic. On Twitter, one former fan wrote, "I really defended this girl like she was my sister, and she played us all. Never again." Another said, "Kirk isn't innocent, but Jasmine, she's just as bad. Lying for money is crazy." But the true damage that was happening behind the scenes was that, after the trial, brands weren't just cutting off their relationship with Jasmine. They were demanding reimbursements from some companies that had paid her for sponsored posts under the guise that she was a trustworthy influencer, but they now wanted no association with her. An insider alleges that she is being sued for breach of contract by both left and right corporations that aren't playing and want their money back. Not only that, but Jasmine was losing friends, with some of the same reality stars and influencers who had formerly backed her now pretending they had never heard of her. Even one former coworker went live. Then the stunning news came out that Jasmine was losing money and having trouble paying her own legal fees. Listen, I was trying to be supportive, but I didn't realize she was lying like that. I can't stand behind that. She apparently had to pay some court expenses after losing to Kirk, and she was rapidly running out of options as her sponsorships were depleting. Declaring that she was broke and in need of assistance to start over, Jasmine actually launched a crowdsourcing effort. She wrote in her post, "I've been through so much. The media has twisted the truth, and now I'm left with nothing. If you believe in justice, please." She claimed she was rushing because she thought fans would be giving her sympathy money, but instead they were simply making fun of her. "Help me get back on my feet," but you know what? Nobody was buying it. Clown emojis were posted in the harsh comment section, where others made fun of her and reminded her that she had done this to herself. Only when we thought the humiliation couldn't get much worse, it did, as Jasmine didn't only lose in the court of law. One person said, "You're not begging for money after lying on that man for years, bro. Be for real." Another remarked, "Kirk should donate $1 just to be petty." When Kirk's team alluded to a possible defamation case, it seems they weren't merely bluffing. Legal insiders claimed that there were serious talks about suing Jasmine for damages and that she might be subject to a lawsuit for millions of dollars if this case goes further. According to one attorney, if Kirk takes this seriously, Jasmine might be subject to a significant settlement, and we're hearing that she doesn't have the money to fight this, so she could have to declare bankruptcy. Even worse, she is being abandoned by her family. Jasmine's cousin posted on Facebook that I asked her to stop lying. I asked her to just take the L and move on, but she would rather not listen. Now that she is moving away from her, the only thing left to wonder is where she will go. Jasmine is unable to profit from this controversy or become an influencer again because her reputation is in ruins. She has a long road ahead of her unless she can alter the narrative. According to others, she might attempt a redemption arc or even cry a little and claim she was misinterpreted on a podcast. The internet, let's face it, never forgets, but some people think she might disappear for a while and then reappear when people forget. Forgets, but Kirk, oh, he's doing brilliantly. The worst part is that, although the game is done and he has left, there are whispers that Jasmine's previous transactions are being investigated, so the drama may not even be ended yet. Yes, as one anonymous source stated, people are already questioning whether this was her first time pulling a trick of this nature. Kirk just took the heaviest blow of his career and left Jasmine broke, humiliated, and potentially doomed for good. Stay tuned because if there's one thing we know about complicated situations like these, the drama never truly ends. That's how you play the game the right way. But if more information surfaces, we may be facing a much more significant scandal in the future. Tell me if you believe Jasmine can move past this issue or if she received what she deserved. How about Kirk? Was he playing chess the whole time or did he simply get lucky? For more insane updates on the most unusual celebrity drama, please leave your thoughts in the comments box below. Furthermore, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You won't want to miss it, I assure you. To prevent missing what's about to happen, stay locked in, and I'll see everyone at the next one.